proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Crunching Gears, the Rally Podcast. The 2026 season is continuing, and Conor, we have a busy week ahead this week. We're going to look back at Galway. It was on last weekend, and we have, a great chat there now with Callum Devine, the overall winner. Great to see that was the one he wanted to win there, himself and Noel. And then we also speak to the one co-driver in the two-wheel drive. Then is Killian McArdle, and he was joined by Tom Murphy, who was sitting along with Eddie Doherty. And then, Conor, you get a chance then to look back at Monte with a voice that needs no introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a chance to catch up with Mike Chen from RallyTV. We're all used to Mike's voice alongside Beck's. And it was a great opportunity just to look back at Monte and get his take on what was a pretty exciting and a pretty dramatic event.
Yeah, that's for sure. But first of all, Galway, as I said there a few minutes ago, Callum and Noel took the one. Like they put the hammer down in the first three stages when everybody else was bedding in, getting used to the new machinery, built up a nice wee lead and kind of maintained it then over the rest of the weekend. It was like after that the times over the rest of the next day and a half then, it was unbelievable. There was one stage, I think there was three of them all within all to the 10th of a second, and then there was another maybe two like a tenth quicker or a tenth slower. It was frantic, it really was. And that's Galway. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the championship.
Look, it was a great start to the Tarmac Championship. Really was great. Galway, always a great event. We always love to see who's out and in what machinery, and that didn't disappoint. And we had a fantastic battle for second place, and unfortunately, we were robbed with of the outcome of that battle with a couple of stages to go.
Yeah, because Michael Boyle was right in that hunt there too. Himself and Declan Boyle were right in that hunt. And then over a jump, just something, the car died out. They're not exactly sure. Last we heard then what had happened, but hopefully it's nothing too major, But Eddie Doherty took the second place. And then on the very last stage then, Josh Moffat and a blinder to David Kelly. So as we keep saying, Irish rallying is the sport that keeps giving.
It is, and we were all excited with two Yaris's on that start line. Unfortunately for Eamon Kelly, he didn't get past stage 2, and then it took Josh a while to get into. I suppose we know how talented Josh is, and we probably over-expected some fantastic things from the get-go. So he had to warm up to a brand new car that he's hardly even tested, and as you say, towards the end of the event, you could see he was getting to grips with it. He had the bull by the horns and nipped into third place. That's
for sure, yeah. And then the two-wheel drive, what a battle there was there in two as well until the last couple of stages. Rodney Walton and Conor McMahon were nipping in, between themselves and Killian, and it was unbelievable. Mickey Cahill was driving there as well, and that was a mental battle. They were nipping at each other. One was leading, then the other, and then it looked as if then that Walton had got the upper hand. But unfortunately, he slipped off the road, allowing then Michael Cahill and Killian then to take the one. But that was one of the highlights of the event. So I think there's no point in us talking anything more about it, Conor, really, is there? People are here to listen to. Yeah. First of all, we're going to hear from the winner, Callum Devine, and then that will go into then Killian McArdle and Tom Murphy. Callum, yourself and Noel took the one on Sunday. What a result! What a way to start the year.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin, for having me. It's brilliant to get Galway. Such a classic event. It's always been, and at the start of the year. Yeah, it's been a one. Probably me and Noel have been trying and win this last while. We have been second the last time and third before as well. So it's a tricky event. I think always time of year always do struggle in the slippier stages. But yeah, look, we put a good effort on at the weekend, and yeah, that went well.
Yeah, and like Friday evening, as always, Ayr Square, the atmosphere was electric. There's something very special at the start of the year. The crowds, the new cars. This year in particular, it was just mind blowing. It was just like new car, new car, new car. It was like, wow. I've been going to Galway now for I would say 20 years, and I don't think I've ever seen such so many new cars and so many new liveries.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm the same. I think there was two new Skodas, two new Toyotas, and two new Fords maybe as well, all inside the top 10 alone, probably on the first days out. So, no, I don't remember it ever being like that in a long, long time. And yeah, I think after the first 2 or 3 stages, they're all like Rally 2 cars, right up this top 16. So it was a strong, strong entry.
Hmm.
I know numbers wise it wasn't the best, but it was definitely strong. Um, yeah, but it was cool. It was definitely class going on Dare Square and the crowds and yeah, getting to see all the cars, what they look like. Yeah, it's just cool, isn't it? Like just like a wee fan thing. You always like to see everybody's graphics in the car and everything. So
Aye, because like for up till about a week before Galway, everything was very quiet, everyone was very calm, and then it just seemed to explode. Like I think it was was it Monday night or Tuesday night? There was liveries started appearing. Now there was all these rumours, oh such and such, the Moffats have got Yaris, oh Devine's got a new Skoda, Devine's got like I think God only knows a Lancia coming. There was everybody's all these
yeah,
different stories, and then to finally see things starting to drip out, and you just get that the buzz that this is coming back again.
yeah, exactly. No, it does. I was looking forward to, and yeah, even seeing everybody's liveries and cool wee videos everybody was doing and launching it and stuff. Yeah, it builds excitement, doesn't it?
Hmm.
For everybody going down and no, that's cool. That's cool. It definitely was.
Yeah, and then Saturday morning, like first stage away at 20 to 9, everybody feeling their way in these new cars or trying to bed themselves in. Yourself and Noel attacked that first stage. Like we were about halfway through the stage, and you come through where we were at like a rocket. It was so much visibly quicker. And was that part of the plan to attack first thing in the morning, or is it just you got into a flow straight away?
I suppose it probably was in a way, maybe. I wouldn't say it was the be all end all sort of thing for us. I just knew when we went out the road in the morning, Noel says like we need to have a go at this, brave and sharp on. Obviously the 3 stage format done 3 times. Obviously, everybody gets quicker in the second pass, and definitely in the third pass, they're always very, very close. And obviously, the stage has been so fast that we knew there wouldn't be much time in it, or we thought there wouldn't be much time in it. So, yeah, look, no, we just first stage, we just went up and at it, and the conditions were a lot better than we expected to. It was a wee bit more drier than a classic Galway's always been. And yeah, wherever we seen grip, we pushed hard, and yeah, wherever it wasn't so grippy, when we got the slippy stuff, we just tried to be as tidy and make as very little mistakes as possible. And yeah, we did get to the end of the stage. I thought, well, since that was a good early run, and I was kind of like, some places there was improvements. You think these things, but yeah, look, once we seen the times, it was yeah, it was good. Good,
Mhm.
good. We just did all the basics right, and yeah, just tried to commit to the notes as best as possible. And yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah,
good. Good
I
start,
like.
brilliant start. That was kind of the main bit of it.
Yeah, because like as you say, like that built momentum then for that first loop, and then as you say, the second and third loop, everybody just get closer and closer. Where by the end of the third loop, it was like back to the classic Irish rallying again. 6, 7 cars covered by less than 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the third stage of the rally, we were obviously pushing on rightly as well, and we just turned. There was a delay at the start of the stage, and we got onto it. And we turned onto a wee B road, and the grip was just completely different. And we just kind of, I think probably people seen the clip. We went up the bank just a bit and clipped the back wheel, took a big chunk out of the wheel. And I remember going down the road, me and Noah just like, oh, I hope that's if it's a puncher just to get us to the end. But lucky enough, it held up. But like, if we lost all that time, as we were saying, like it'd have been a real tight battle the whole way through, because I think we were a couple of seconds quicker on the fourth stage, and then Eddie was quicker then, I think, in the fifth stage, and yeah, it was nip and tuck. And then Michael Boyle came to the floor too, having a great run as well. So no, it was tight. It was tight. It definitely was. Bar the first three stages for us.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned there, two guys, Eddie and Michael too. Two guys that Eddie proved himself in the national championship last year, stepping up to the Tarmac championship. Michael, the way he finished last year, like two more possible winners there. Like we keep saying, there's this conveyor belt of talent always coming. There's always somebody new. Josh and now in the Toyota seems to have found his groove again now as well too. So like, there's no such thing as an easy rally anymore in Ireland.
No, there's not. Look at Michael last year. They got a couple of ones there at the end, and that just breeds confidence. A lot of ones and getting them first results under the belt just gets confidence. And it's the exact same with Eddie. Look, he won the national championship last year, and getting his first ones under his belt against Josh too, which we know he's no easy guy to beat in the national events. And yeah, look, it just shows results breed confidence, and the two of them started this year flying. And no doubt they're going to only get quicker and quicker. And yeah, you touched on Josh. He was flying in the last stage there to put himself back into third. And I've seen a couple of clips today of him. Now he's definitely starting to throw the arse about like he usually does, the Hyundais and stuff. So he must be getting the hang of proving quickly.
For sure. And another man too that he picked, David Kelly. David put in some very, very strong times, especially coming into Sunday. Whenever conditions were, that wee bit more greasy and all on Sunday morning, he's definitely seemed to find a sweet spot.
Definitely. No, like I think David's on all them big events, like David's always went well in Donegal as well. Like he's been third the last 2 years, I think, maybe or something. He has the pace. Yeah, it's just tying it all together. Obviously a new car as well. He's dialed into it quite well as well. Quite good. So no, look, it's good. It's brilliant for the championship. It's brilliant for the championship, and look, you want to see new boys coming all the time. Yeah, adding to the mix, like. So
and like then, like we said that, about all these new liveries and all new cars, that brought like massive crowds out there over the weekend as well. Like we've seen in around the service area, like good crowds, even on the stages. Do you get a chance to like even get a flavour of that at all, or are you just in the zone?
Oh, you do. You get to see this. I don't know what it is. Like I know the speed you go, but you always can. It's a funny wee thing. You always pick people out of the crowd. You can see a face. I think we did some laughing. Me and Noah. We actually managed to see Mikey Galvin stand up. Standing up in the ditch. So I don't know. He was making faces and stuff, and I was like, you see Mikey?" And he spotted him too, and him calling the notes. And I was thinking, how do you do that? We were chatting, and how do you spot a face just like that in the way back at the speed you're going? But no, it was great crowds. Even like on the Sunday, I think they had was it the last stage on Sunday, the first pass? Sure, I think the stage was nearly lost. We were in at the last minute. I think it was just due to crowds. They says there's too much crowds and everywhere, and you could see it. The junctions, people were full on it, like, which is good to see, brilliant to see. And also the blue skies in Galway for a wee change probably helped to that as well. So no, it was definitely a good weekend, and yeah, definitely good to see the crowds out as well.
Yeah, because like, we were talking before we started recording, like everybody's up their game now with the social media. You have Sean Hassett back in the fold there too, and you can see the way Eddie Doherty is doing it, and everybody now is embracing social media, and it's great, but we're kind of preaching to the converted as well too. It's brilliant to get the stories out there, but there has to be some way of getting it out to the wider audience as well. Yeah,
look, I know everybody touches back to the RPM days, like they were class, weren't they? Some of them did a great podcast, a great TV program and stuff. So yeah, look, everybody's sort of turning to social media now because there isn't really a TV platform at the moment, a committed TV platform for all the events, which I do think Irish Championship does need. As you said, they broadcast it to the wider audience, and look, I suppose for us drivers, the only way we can sort of control that sort of thing is we can turn to our own social medias and stuff. And thankfully this weekend Sean was back with us giving a hand to us, and it was a great help for us. Takes some pressure off us too as a drivers trying to organise all that during events, and he does a great job at it as well.
Because we do see the crowds, it's not that it's just this, we're this wee back beyond sport. The crowds we're getting, I think we warrant a more exposure.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. yeah, like I remember watching back some of them RPMs. Like the Plum could make a great story out of them,
Yeah.
and like there could be 30 seconds between every driver, that sort of way.
Uh-huh.
But like I think we came to one of them stages. Maybe I think it was a second after second position. There was a second between everybody, right down to like 12th or something. A second between a gap. I think it was after the 6 stages, maybe the sixth stage on the first day. And like that's class. It's class battling. If you had it broadcasted, people would think, wow, a second. And I think when we actually started out on the first stage Sunday morning, I think me and Eddie were definitely joint on time. I think Josh Moffat was joint on time right down to the 10th of a
10th of a
second.
second, yeah.
And then Michael Boyle was a 10th of a second faster or slower, I'm not sure, but it was sure you couldn't blink it like. But it's yeah, look, if you had that broadcasted, I'm sure it'd bring more attraction for people watching. But yeah, we just have to work what we got at the moment, don't we?
Yeah, and like you have sponsors like too that make it happen for you as well too. Like you have great people there behind you, and Adam on the car, Michelin tires, everything. It takes all those, every one of those to make this work. It's not just two boys in the car.
No, exactly. We had a great weekend, and everything kind of fell into place. Look, Michelin tires has been, yeah, I think it excels obviously in them slippy conditions. Was a perfect tire all weekend. Never thought we had the wrong choice, so it was absolutely fantastic that way. And yeah, the car ran absolutely faultless. Any wee small changes we needed to make, we made them, and it was in the right direction. So, no, great weekend, great weekend. Yeah, and as you say, we need all them things to click into place. I clicked into place from probably the first and second stage, and yeah, we just kind of continued on. So yeah, you need all them wee things to work for you, and everything to be right as well.
And that man then sat beside you too. Like he's as driven and as determined as you are.
Oh, he definitely is. As you know, but at times meeting him, he wants to win. No one wants to win. Now, there's no doubt about that, and that's good. He brings out the best to try and get the best out of me as well, and he's competitive, and that's what you need in the car. We gel well, so we do, and yeah, look, I think I've proved for myself. I mentioned before, every time since he stepped in, I've kind of started running rallies, haven't I? So yeah, we work well, we gel well. So, but yeah, he's definitely competitive. He wants to win, and I think he was glad to get the Galway one under his belt as well. So it was good to get it for both of us, like.
For sure, for sure. And then obviously confidence is high. Then where to next?
Yeah, look, I would say we might look about going to West Cork. It'd be a shame not to go to West Cork. Obviously won the first round, but yeah, we were hopefully we were trying to do some chat out to do some ERC events this year if we could. But yeah, nothing. We're still working on all them things, and yeah, I'd say probably the next event for us will probably maybe be West Cork, but we'll yeah, we have to make a plan now and stuff, and yeah, I would say maybe we'll be West Cork maybe.
Killian, you come away with a modified one on the weekend. You have to be over the moon with the result.
Oh yeah, Kevin, over the moon. Like to come away in them tricky conditions to get even finishing a two-wheel drive PR was treacherous enough. Look, yeah, it was Saturday morning maybe, and Saturday evening wasn't so bad, but definitely there on the Sunday stages it was very treacherous and tricky in a two-wheel drive PR trying to get traction on the road. But no, over the moon. We had a great old battle at Rodney. It was hammer and tongs the whole weekend. Unfortunate for Rodney just to go off on the third stage on Sunday. Like it was a real close racing. And going into the stage we were only leading them by 0.8 of a second or something. So it really was all or nothing for us really. So look, unfortunate for Rodney to go off. Would have been nice to go to the finish with it, but over the moon. I've sat with Mickey now nearly 2 years. And done a lot of work with them and put big effort into them to try and get a good result. Like I knew you could always do it, but it's just trying to get everything to click at the one time, and it did over the 2 days. So yeah, it's great result.
Yeah, because Galway is always tricky, but as you say, the conditions there, like a 350, 360 brake horsepower Mark II must be like an animal down them narrow roads, and especially when they are especially on Sunday when they were greasy and mucky.
Oh, 100%. To be fair to Mickey, he's very good, probably throttle control. He wouldn't be a big man for stabbing on the throttle and letting it spin and slowly try and get his traction down. But it was a lot of a lot of short shifting, definitely at that first junction on Sunday morning at that school or whatever it was, onto the main road. It was absolutely treacherous, like the whole way up. I think, and even fourth and fifth gear, even touching the throttle too much, you were just lighting the back wheel. So no, it was good. Controlled drive for him. Hey, he's very neat and tidy in them types of conditions. He always has been. So no, it was really nice to come away at the end and over the moon for him, like, to be honest.
For sure. And Tom, for yourself and Eddie, once again, like, Eddie was just exemplary, settled in really well to the new car. You know, after like the first loop of stages, Callum had a jump on you, but after that, like, it was nip and tuck. Like, there was 5-6 crews and coming to the end of stages, 2-3 seconds separating you.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good racing all weekend, to be fair. Look, we kind of always knew, like, the likes of Callum and Michael and that, they were going to have that jump because they have that extra bit of time in the car, in that kind of a car. So we knew ourselves, look, we just said we'd bet ourselves in steady and just see how we go. And to be fair, worked out quite well for us. So it did. So it was nice to be thereabouts, straight from the off, kind of on our first event. We didn't, like, we were aiming for a podium, like, but to get second overall and to be racing the boys there from the word go was good going as well. So it was.
Yeah, and, like, you know, taking that step up now from the national into the Tarmac Championship, coming away with a few stage ones, like, was that the kind of part of the plan for the weekend, or, as you say, was it just steady as she goes?
Well, I suppose, yeah, steady as he goes and see where we were, kind of a thing. Like, and look, I suppose the stage wins then were just an added bonus, so they were. But look, we put in a nice bit of work behind the scenes there over the last few weeks and since before Christmas there. So it was nice to see some of that hard work being rewarded there at the weekend. So it was.
Mm-hmm. And you know, the swap from the older spec Fabia up to the new spec, is there a lot of noticeable differences in the car, even from your side of the car?
It's definitely more performance. Definitely performance-wise, definitely way more torque in the car, and just seems to be more go in the car than the old car. Like there, the weekend, it was the first time I think we ever had to mess around with the boost, because the boost in the old car was always turned to 5, and that was it. It was never changed, whether it be wet or dry. And the boost turned up to the last in that new car, and she was just spinning out everywhere. We had to turn it down. So, it was just even things like that we could cop, and definitely at high speed. Noticed that definitely, as Killian would tell you, the Saturday stages there were absolutely mental fast in places. Like, you'd notice that car is definitely more balanced at high speed and more smooth and comfortable at high speed than the older car would have been. So yeah, definitely a good improvement.
For sure. And Killian, I think the Motor Club put on fantastic stages. The stages on Saturday, like, for all the rain that has been, it was unbelievable how quickly they dried. And there was places there was a bit of cotton, but no major cotton, and they kept reasonably clean all day.
Yeah, Jesus, Gavin, there was probably a stage on Saturday you'd wonder where you were in Galway at all. It wasn't Galway conditions at all what you're expecting. You're normally knowing dead right you're coming to Galway, you're coming for real muck, slippy, and big cuts from the big boys in front. Like, but yeah, the stages were very clean. Tom was saying there, like, there was wee bits of technical in it, but some of the places were there was very, very fast, and very good stages put on by the club. Like, they were well run, well manned, and yeah, really enjoyable stages. Like Saturday, especially with the conditions they've got. It's not very Galway like, to be fair. Like, when you're normally going to Galway, you're expecting to be, muck and slipping, sliding ever. But hey, we didn't have that at all. It was good. Like, so.
Uh-huh. And the ceremony will start on the Friday evening. What a way to start the weekend! Huge crowds, and it was there's a great buzz about for the start of the year.
Oh, as always, anytime you start the season, that's where you want to be, in the middle air square on the Friday night before the rally. It's the whole buzz and the hype about the rally to get it going again and kick the rally season back off. But it's great to see the crowds, and the club put on a good job for bringing it to the people in the middle of the town that might never see it out in the stages. Like.
Yeah, because Tom, like this year in particular, Galway was electric because all the new cars, the new liveries, there was so much excitement. It had been very quiet up until practically 3 or 4 days before the event, and then suddenly there was cars appearing left, right, and centre. There had been rumours going about, but to actually see the cars starting to appear, there's something very special about this time of the year.
Definitely. As I was saying to Eddie when we were driving into Ayr Square on Friday evening, I was like, I remember going up to Galway there as a young fella, and just the buzz and excitement to being around Ayr Square on the Friday night, watching all the new machinery coming in, and then to be driving into Ayr Square and one of the top 10 cars in Galway. It was a cool experience, to see, to be actually there and be part of it, when it's something you watched growing up for so many years, and to see all the cars there, how many new cars was in the top 10, it was crazy to see, all the new Skodas and Toyotas and Fiestas and everything. It was mad now, to be fair.
And like even like I know myself, just even walking up onto Air Square, the smell, that Panthers fuel and whatever, there's just something intoxicating about it. I know I'm a wee bit of a rally nerd, but I just love that, and it just said rallying's back again.
Yeah, definitely. That's always Galway. Whatever it is about Air Square in Galway, the first weekend of February, you always, it's just like, yeah, you're back. It's the start of a new year, It's all, there's something, yeah, there is something about Air Square that Friday because it's the start of another year, like, and as you said, all the new cars and everything just makes it give that extra bit of a buzz around the place.
And like we've talked before, like in the WRC, and it's the same in the Tarmac Championship. The clock goes back to zero again. It doesn't matter what you done last year. Like new year, new start, and like everybody brought their A game straight away.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sure, as you see the racing that was there the weekend, like the first stage Sunday morning, even I think ourselves, Callum had an identical time. Michael was only 0.1 of a second slower. David Kelly went and blew us all out of the park. Like you don't know what anyone's going to do in any kind of any stage all weekend there. Who's going to pull us crack over time out of the bag? So it just shows you what a good year we're in for. To be fair, like.
That's for sure. And Killian, it was the same in the modified. Everybody says, oh, the modified entry is not hectic or whatever. But like the guys that were there stood up and was counted. They put on some race. Like never the class 14 guys, the class 13 guys, every class. But the two-wheel drive, the battle was immense. The way it seesawed and went over for a day and a half really.
100%, Kevin. Here, I'd look, it mightn't have been the best modified entry you'll ever see, but as you'll always be told, like, sure, it only needs 2 bikes for a race, and there definitely was a race between us and Rodney. Like, it's the hottest race I'd say I've ever contested in a modified car. Like, if there was more people there, they would have been the same times. Nobody would have been any quicker than that. Like, we were absolutely hammering tongs as hard as it would go. Like, and we were taking big chances. Like, especially me and Mickey said going out the road Sunday morning that this was it. We'd pulled in actually with Gary Kieran at the start, and we decided that we were just going to chance it. Like, we were going to take big cuts and big risks, and look, it paid out for us in that first stage. On Sunday morning, we ended up taking 10 seconds out of Rodney with a stall and a spin. So, hey, it was nip and tuck racing, and that's what you want. Hey, that's what you go rallying for. You don't want to be going and be winning by a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You want to be going and absolutely fighting for every second, and that's what I get the enjoyment out of it. It was deadly bit of racing.
And we often said as well too, the crack yes boys have as well too. Like whenever he took 10 seconds off Rodney, I'm sure he didn't take it lightly. I'm sure there's a fair bit of rubbing before the next stage.
No, surely even on the Saturday, like we had a bit of a lead, maybe built up in the first 2 stages, and Mickey, to be fair, probably had never been in that type of situation before, and he openly said himself he thought he could maybe manage it, probably from his lower times in classes, 11 hour, and that you could manage a lead if you gained that, but he saw it wrong. Rodney came absolutely snapping out of the heels, out of that in the middle loop, and took all the time back, and we definitely got blown out of the water there, like, but there's a good bit of slagging and crack going, sure, hey, that's what you want. It's always the way in the modified, it's here, you still have the crack and stuff and the top end stuff too, but in the modified it just seems to be a bit different, bikes just be mad for their bit of crack, like.
And like fair play to Rodney, like he took a few hard knocks last year, but the way he dusted himself down, himself and Connor, I was chatting to him there on Saturday evening. He had a bit of work done to the car. He was delighted the way the car was handling. It was it was doing everything he wanted it to do.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, look here, Rodney's no pup for the pass anyway. He's been around the block a few times, and then types of conditions. Always know Rodney was. We knew coming into the weekend that Rodney was going to be the man to beat. Like he loves them types of conditions. He always revels in them conditions. But it's just unfortunate what happened to him, and just the way it was. The pressure was on us, and we had to fight for every second. And to be honest, it probably was that type of rally that one of us were going to have to crumble somewhere and make a mistake, because it was just fighting for every inch. Like as Mickey said, coming up the part of the road where we came upon Rodney. If he didn't go off there, we probably went off there. We were taking it on flat too, and that's just the way it goes in that type of game when you're looking for every second, like.
For sure. And Tom, like as hectic as the modified was, like there was some battle. Callum was that wee bit in front, but like the second, third, fourth, fifth, like it was again, as I said earlier, it was seconds, fractions of seconds covering you, and like yourself and Michael Boyle was having some ding dong. Unfortunately, Michael, I think it was mechanical issue, put him out at the finish up.
Yeah, mechanical. Yeah, I met Adam Platt there at the finish ramp, and he couldn't put his finger on what it was that actually went wrong with the car, like he was saying. And as we were both saying, like the strangest thing ever to hear of a Skoda breaking down, like 'cause they don't really break down. As I was saying, like I think this Galway 2 years ago was the only mechanical non-finish we ever had, full stop, in their whatever 2 or 3 years rallying in a Rally 2 car set. So no, but geez, yeah, definitely the racing was savage all begins. As I said to you there a minute ago, anyone could have come out there with the fastest time. I know Callum got going early like in that, but after that, like you David Kelly, Josh, ourselves, Michael, Ryan, Shane Quinn, Keelan Grogan, the list goes on, and them other boys are only gonna get quicker as well. Like so, it's there's definitely exciting times ahead. I think in the whole Rally 2 class in Ireland with all the new people, all the new young fellas coming up.
Yeah, because like Shane and Keelan really stood up this weekend as well, and as you say, they are definitely stars of the future. Because like those were like if you can be fast and go, you can practically carry that speed anywhere.
Yeah, no, definitely, and like even I see probably we'd know Shane from his runs with Ryan as well. Like, and we seen it there in Wexford last year. I think the last stage in Wexford he had the fastest time there last year. So, I definitely know that Shane is definitely a star of the future, and definitely sure Keelan Grogan is, and just how many more you've sure where Killian sits with Joe there, and you've KCJ and that all boys that will be coming on as well in a few years' time. Like so, all the future is bright. I know people will be giving out and this and that, and looking where's Keith Cronin or where's Matt Edwards and all that. But I think you have to kind of look to the future and see who's coming up along as well,
Yeah,
and enjoy who's racing there at the moment as well. Like,
yeah, because Killian, that is the thing. We are blessed, Yes, the MA Academy, which you're a part of, has a lot to we have to be so thankful for it. But even the homebred guys, they're probably getting the ripples coming out from the academy. They're lifting their game. They're seeing how things are done. It's encouraging them now to push on as well.
No, 100%, Kevin. Like the academy's doing great things for all of us here, especially me, and even how, as you're saying, like it trickles down to everybody. Like even the club man, like there's, Mickey's probably benefited a wee bit from me too with it and putting in a bit of work like to it. But it's definitely the people coming up through, as Tom's saying, like he's right. Like people are saying there's no Cronin and no this and that, but sure, like you have to look at the new boys. Like there's enough boys there flipping at the heels to try and get up and in. If you don't, it's not enough room for loads of them there at the top two either. So no, 100%. Hey, there's a lot of boys coming up through. Like, hey, it's great to see. Like it's a real good. Great golden patch, for Irish rallying at the minute. Like so, here long may it continue. Like because everyone here has to, you have to up your game. You see, we for the likes of me and Joe now will go back out in Mayo and back out in the Yaris now. Like it's trying to look at the boys like Eddie and Callum and your Josh's and all, and that's the boys you're aiming for. And sure, you have to match them and get up to their speed as well. So it just brings everyone on. Like.
Yeah, because like Tom, as it's been seen before, if you can be fast here in Ireland, you can travel. Like as Killian just said there, like Joe Kelly, he showed the pace himself, and Killian showed in the BRC last year. Like we have such great talent, and it's great to see that it's going beyond Ireland now. We are a force to be reckoned with across the world.
it's definitely, yeah, sure. Even there, look, when Callum went to Ceredigion on there last year, only for his mechanical difficulty, he was on for a great result there, sure. John Armstrong, he raced here at home this last year. He's gone doing great things. So did Josh McArlen. Like he was racing here at home last year as well. Like going on to do great things. You've and Kelly now coming back from the JWRC. They were very unfortunate the weekend. Like I reckon if they were there, they would have been there about Sunday evening as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
and wait till you see them coming on in West Cork and Killarney, and that there'll be some savage battles with them as well throughout the year. So there will.
Yeah, and Killian, like it was touched on there. Like you are part of the academy, and like you're seeing behind the scenes what the effort's going on by the guys in Rally 1. The guys that's going to be going out to the ERC. Like this is like their livelihood. This is what they're driven by.
Yeah, 100%. Like the academy, hey, and big ups to John Kina and Sean McHugh. Like and Ahir and everyone else. It's not just them two other. Like there's a load of other ones behind the scenes, but. That's all trickling down from what they're knowing, especially from, Josh and John there at the minute. Like even last year at me and KCJ in the ERC, we got right bit of help if you ever needed any hand with anything, even from me, the likes of Shane and with Connor Smith and Ayrton and all in there too. And there's, and Casey had Craig and all, that we all had that group that we all brought each other along, if we ever had any problems, we could always bounce them off each other and maybe come with solutions, and it'll drive you on, boys come up with new ideas and stuff. It's great. Like it is doing good things, and it's definitely trickling down to the club men now. I think it's only probably seeing the effect of it now, maybe in the last year or two, of it getting down to the lower end of Irish rallying, which helps bring on the pace everybody really, because everyone's putting in massive effort now, no matter what class you go to. If it's number one on the road, or it's number 140 in the road in a Nova, everyone's putting in big effort to try and be fast these days. Like, and it's good to see them.
That's for sure, yeah. And like Tom, getting back to the weekend then too, like we touched on it earlier, the club put on a fantastic rally. They lost some stages, but like that's probably the time of the year didn't help. But like the level of organisation that went into that event was first class. Like the stages for use Rick in there on the Thursday, Friday, there were arrowed and all for you. Like wee things like that just make the job so much easier.
It was a fantastic event. Sure, look at the Service Park. Like Service Park was worthy of a WRC event, hands down. Like, and the race course, just the facilities that were unbelievable. Like, to be fair, and as you said, like the stages, everything was arrowed, everything was well laid out. No, it was a brilliant run rally. To be fair to them, I know they lost 2 stages, but this time of year you're just going to lose them. That's sure, it can happen in the middle of summer, it can happen anytime, so it's just, but this time of year especially, you are going to do stages this time of year, and that's just part and parcel of it, really. But no, it was a very well run event, to be fair to them, so it was.
Yeah, and they have a great sponsor there in Corrib Oil, and the championship now that they have NAPA there. It is starting to all look fairly positive now at the minute as well.
Oh yeah, no, definitely from Galway's point of view, because I suppose they had a few tough years and stuff and that as well, and so no, definitely that with NAPA is a brilliant thing for the Irish Tarmac Championship. There you can really see they're getting behind it, because I suppose there was years there as well when there was sponsorship for the Tarmac Championship was up in the air there in the past and that, and struggling to get sponsors. But this NAPA really look like they're the crowd is going to take this championship forward, so long may it continue.
Yeah. And like yourselves, we spoke with Eddie this before. Like he's looking at the promotion of the thing with a slightly quirky eye on it too, and it's really funny and it's really it's appealing to probably a different audience than outside the rally, and that we have to embrace that as well.
Yeah, no. To be fair, like Eddie's brother there is he's probably a lot of the brainchild behind it. He's a great mind for thinking about them things, and yeah, look. I suppose it's just trying to take it in some kind of a different direction, maybe some bit different than other people will go at. But yeah, look, just has to try. It seems to be working, so just keep it going and see.
Mm-hmm. And Kelly, that is probably something that has come down from the academy, is about promotion, and we can see that so many of the top runners and even into the modified now have their own results coming up, and there's loads of stuff being put up on social media. And hopefully that's going to attract more people and more eyes in the sport.
Oh, 100%, Kevin. It's just the way, not even motorsport, just the way the world's gone. The whole thing's gone social media. You have to keep up on it. And yeah, the academy push it, and they've every right to push it. They have to get your brand out there and show people, showcase it. I have a handy enough job of it. I have Ryan Graham from Mad for Tar does my media. I wouldn't be the greatest man at the old social media, but Ryan does a great job for me and keeping on top of all that stuff. Especially for us when we're out abroad, at the end of the day when you're in the middle of a service and you have very tight for time, and social media will probably be the last thing in your mind. It's hard to get your head around it, so it's nice to hand it off to somebody like Ryan, and Ryan does a top class job for me every time. So, but no, definitely, even the way Eddie has promotion of, and I see Callum, there's stuff up there too when you're on Instagram and all there now. It's great to see, and it does get it out there to people that mightn't maybe see it all the time. It mightn't be mainstream, and gets up on their feed and stuff, and over here. Any promotion's good promotion, so long way to continue.
Yeah, and a man you mentioned there, Ryan Graham, for him and that family, they're motorsport mad, and the efforts he goes to with the social media, he's covering world championship stuff, he's covering European stuff, he's local events, and then they're out video, and this is only a hobby, this is only a pastime, but they are taking it to the next level.
No, 100%. They're absolutely rally mad. And here. So you don't be home from a rally a couple of hours and they already have the video up, and it's the first thing you go and watch is you look for Mad for Tar video, or you look for a Flying Pin videos or either so. But no, Ryan's been very good to me, and he's top class job of what he does. He really does have an knack for it, and I've said it time to gain to him. He definitely should probably try and pursue it as a job. He definitely has an knack for that type of stuff. So he definitely does me a big favour, and he's really good at what he does.
Because Tom, we have this is the great thing, and we keep saying it over and over again too as well. Rallying, there's so many good people around. It's almost it's always a pleasure, I should say, going in around a service area or going to a ceremonial start. There's always a good bit of crack. There's always a bit of banter, a bit of slagging.
Yeah, no, just there's a great community in Irish rallying. To be fair, it's probably one of the best communities And it's definitely, I think with the whole social media thing, the whole thing is definitely getting more popular. Like I went on and just scrolled through TikTok there today, and every single video was Galway Rally, Galway Rally, Galway Rally. Like, it's definitely is, taking off. But yeah, no, there's a great community, and Irish rallying is a great community, and it is one big community. Like, so it's definitely going strong. So it is, to be fair.
That's for sure, yeah. And like I suppose then we'll start wrapping things up. Like, yourselves are used for Mayo now at the end of the month, or we'll start the next month, or is it West Cork's next in the agenda?
You'll have to ask the boss man that. No, as far as I know, West Cork, but sure you know yourself now. It could change, but yeah, no, as far as I know at the moment, West Cork, but things could change, you wouldn't know. But our Tarmac Championship is our main aim this year. Definitely, yeah. Definitely. Like, there seems to be, from what the talk is, like, it seems to be a good proper championship this year. Like, you've talks, the rumour is Killarney is going to the Beara Peninsula, Cork 20 going down to Macroom, using the stage like Kilnamatra and Fury and all them. Ulster going up to the very north and using like maybe Tarhead or Glendon and all them stages, like, and Donegal is just Donegal, and like, so, it really has the makings of, looks like the makings of a cracker of a championship, to be fair, this year.
Excellent. And Killian, for yourself, you have case full travel. Like, you could end up anywhere in the world.
Oh, hi, God knows where you find me, but no, here. Plans are anyway for do the national championship with Joe anyway, and then I think we're on for West Cork, Killarney, Donegal, and hey, you never know what Joe will be like. Get a phone call there next week and you'll be just going somewhere random, but and then obviously then get back out to Europe and do the full European Championship at KSC. That kind of kicks off start of April, end of March, start of April, so that's as soon as Mayo comes around here now, it's just kind of all go, really. It doesn't stop for me. It's kind of January and February is a bit of a lull, but once it goes, once Mayo comes around, it'll just be all guns blazing again, and probably most every week or every 2 weeks away again. So you're here. What else would you be at, here?
So thanks to the lads there. Really looking forward to West Cork, and hopefully those battles will continue, and we're in for a real treat this year. Connor, Monte a couple of weeks ago, like the conditions were like what we remember back 30, 40 years ago. It was a real mixed bag and a real test of skill, determination, madness, whatever you want to call it. And we thought we'd look back at it, and who better to speak to than one of the world's best commentators with an Irish connection.
Yeah, Mike Chen. Look, we all know Mike Chen from RallyTV and previously from doing the Red Bull coverage of WRC. Yeah, Mike, brilliant crack, good to chat to. Has a real good way of just expressing himself when it comes to the rallying, and you can usually hear him when he's doing the commentary, getting a few Irish colloquialisms in there as well, so that's still a bit of crack. But look, Monte was pretty dramatic, as you say. It was a proper Monte, as we all remember from the Group B and the Group A days, and it was exciting to watch. We were delighted to have a brand new winner, Oliver Solberg straight out, and we were gutted for Team Ireland.
Yeah, that's it, unfortunately, yeah, but like at the same time they done us very proud, so it has to give us good heart now for the rest of the season.
Well, that was it. Like, genuinely, the two lads, Josh and John, off to a fantastic start in the sense, okay, we know Josh had a hard Thursday night when he went off, and that was it. There was nothing he could do. He was going to be cleaning the roads, tricky conditions, but still managed it all fairly well right up until practically the end. And again, the same for John Armstrong. Came out of into his first event, the Puma, very little testing, and really set some extraordinary times, was in a great position most of the weekend. And look, in those conditions, slush, ice, black ice, something's going to happen, something's going to give. And, I suppose that's maybe where the inexperience, just happened to go against the two lads.
That's for sure, yeah. So let's hear your conversation with Mike Chen.
Chenny, one of the most dramatic Montes we've had in a long time. Have you recovered?
No, I don't think I will do, probably until Monte 27. It was a good rally, wasn't it? It was exciting. There was so much going on. It was it's the weather conditions that makes Monte Carlo, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the last few years, we just haven't really had a Monte that's given us every different type of weather condition that really tests the drivers. And I think this year we just saw minimal points, dry tarmac, plenty of wet tarmac, plenty of ice, plenty of snow, and then the thing that seemed to catch everybody out was slush. So it was, it was an incredible way to start the year.
Yeah, and on top of that, with a bit of mud thrown in as well. So we had the road pollution as well, just to add to things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schlutter.
Yes, I did hear that over the weekend at one point.
I got a few text messages from the Irish boys like, Chenny, can't believe you got that in. Beck's looking at me going.
I was waiting for her to pull you on it and she said nothing. So, yeah. And come here, going into this year's Monte, thankfully, we were probably expecting a bit of a damp squib, a bit flat, because with no Tarmac, with no Roving Para, with no new cars, it was it's the last year, or the last cycle of the current Rally Ones. We weren't expecting much, and like it exploded in their faces. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was brilliant. I do think you're right to mention the fact that Oit's not around and Calais not around anymore, because there were two massive characters in the sport. I was a huge Oit Tanak fan. He was a bit like Marmite. People either loved him or hated him. I thought it was brilliant. He was, as far as I was concerned, he was our Kimi Räikkönen. Do you know what I mean? He was so good like that. And he said what he thought. And away from the cameras and everything else, he was top bloke, is a top bloke. And phenomenally fast in a rally car. So yeah, I think it's a shame that we haven't got Oit anymore. I really hope that we see him back, Connor, because he's good. He's too good not to be sat in a rally car. And Calais off doing a bit of single-seater racing. It's not like he's stopped and he's doing nothing. So it's quite exciting to see how he's getting on. Like I think Super Formula is probably, for me, I would put Formula One at the pinnacle, and then I'd put Super Formula, and then I'd put Formula 2. Because Super Formula, you've got all these ex-Formula One drivers, ex-Formula One test drivers, and then this young talent coming through. Super Formula is a proper series. So I think it's brave for Calais to go and do that, but he's got a plan and he needs to get a super license. And seat time is what he needs. So it's interesting to follow how he's getting on. But of course, we miss him in the WRC. So I think you're right. There was a bit of trepidation about going into sort of one in Monte without those two big characters there. But as it turns out, we didn't need them. If they're watching this, didn't need that weekend, boys. And it was because of the weather, and we saw it caught so many people out, and it gave us so many incredible stories. Having Hayden Padden back as well, I think, is a brilliant thing for the sport. And then we'll see how EP does and how Danny does, and whether or not that strategy Hyundai works, where you've got Thierry and Adrian just go off. Your job is to go and win rallies, take it to Toyota. And then you've got these sort of 3 night watchmen at the back who are taking turns in the car, whose job it is to just score points. Difficult weekend for Hayden. So there was that story. And then of course, what Oliver Solberg did.
Yeah, Oliver, I was flabbergasted. Obviously we know he's talented, and I suppose there's that issue where you still compare, and it's not a level playing field. But what he went through with Hyundai and the Rally 1 cars a couple of years ago, but what he came back and he delivered. But it was the calmness, even when he had that momentous off and scared the life out of all of us on Saturday when he's in, driving up the hill in a field. Like the level of calmness, he wasn't shook by it. He wasn't flustered. He just got on with it and was taking it with a bit of crack.
Yeah, and I think when you look at what Oliver did, and we all said it a couple of times in the commentary, what he did in Estonia was mind blowing. What he did in Monte Carlo was downright unbelievable. Because Estonia, fast gravel rally, you'd expect him to be thereabouts. He's not be frightened of that. But Monte, in those conditions, was catching out the world's best seasoned drivers who've been in a Rally 1 car for a long, long time. Oliver jumped in it and was instantly in the groove. Yeah. And it's not just what he can do. It's how he works with the engineers, and the engineers work with him, and they come up with a setup. And he's also quite famous for not changing the car. Which I think is such a good thing. You get some drivers who come in, they're constantly changing. They get a book by the end of the weekend of all of the changes they've made, and you end up just chasing your tail. Yeah, Oliver keeps it simple, and it seems to work for him. But you're right, the way he approached the rally was incredible, with the level of maturity and how he wasn't phased by the fact that he was up against Sebastian Ogier, who he would say was kind of his hero growing up, or his idol growing up in rallying, apart from his old man, of course, and then. And Elvin Evans, for me, it was one thing that he could drive the car quickly, but the way he handled himself under pressure, that should be, I think, what terrifies the rest of the service park the most. Because if you can do that in those conditions in Monte Carlo, if you can mentally deal with all of that pressure and still and not cave, that says to me that you're the real deal.
Plus, on the back for Elvin, on the back of last year, where he kind of got knocked over the winter for maybe not stepping it up a bit, for not taking a win, for not really pushing OJ more. And I think he's handled that. And I think he did step it up a gear on Monte in those conditions. He wasn't intimidated at all. In fact, to the extent where you had OJ going, do you know what? I'm just going to play safe here and bring the car home.
Yeah, I think Elvin. What Elvin's so good at is he's consistently quick. I think he finished. Wasn't it that he finished every stage last year in 25, which is like incredible, and that just you don't get more consistent than that. But to finish every stage and show the pace that he did and be leading the championship into the final round, like having got that stat behind you, is pretty incredible, isn't it? So Elvin, I think Elvin's consistently quick, and he's super smart as well, and mentally he is one of the strongest drivers there. He's not really fazed by Sebastian Ogier or whomever. He treats everybody the same and just gets in the car and drives his own rally. And he's gotten very good at that over the last few years. I think if you go back 2 or 3 years, you started to see little cracks in his armor when he'd come under pressure or whatever, then he'd make a mistake. He didn't make those mistakes last year. And the way how good he was in 25, particularly over the gravel rallies when he was leading, he set himself a target. Said, okay, after the first 3 or 4 stages of the morning loop on Friday, you go, can't win this rally. Let's go for third. Let's go for fourth. Got to keep bagging championship points, and that's what he did. And he does deserve to be world champion. The problem is he just had Sebastian Ogier knocking him out.
He did, and plus the fact he was running first in the road for most of last year, which hampers everybody. So if he has young Solberg clearing the road for him, will it be a different year?
Maybe, yeah, possibly. And this is what we're going to have to wait and see. You can't. There's no question that Oliver has added a whole new dimension to the World Rally Championship now. With his speed, he's excitable, he's fun, he's marketable. He's got everything that you want in a driver from a team perspective, but also from a promoter perspective. And Oliver's the whole package. Yeah. So I mean, maybe he'll go out and find himself leading the championship and opening the road, and Elvin can capitalize on that. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't want it to be a championship won and lost on who is opening the road throughout the year. It's got to be pace, So let's wait and see. And actually, it could have been a different story last year, Connor, if Seb had done all of the rallies.
Yeah.
Of course he had to turn up and perform, which he did. But if he'd have been opening the road, if he'd have done all the rallies and then found himself opening the road, it could have been a very different story. He was just super smart with the rallies he picked, and he had to execute on them. Yeah. He had to turn up and really score championship points, and that's what he did. So he played a blinder last year. Ogier was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think a little bit we kind of, in the excitement of last year, which it was pretty exciting, we probably underplayed the quality and the talent of Sebastian Ogier, like to do what he did, to come up, did 3 less events, didn't finish 1 compared to everybody else. I think that's on top of my head, and to do what he did was just incredible. And come here, just I suppose, are we missing something then? We don't have a Solberg v Rovanpera. Is that something that we're going to have to wait 4 or 5 years to have?
I don't know. You have to pick up the phone and ring Kelly, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? But he's sort of what. But the nice thing about it is Oliver's picked up. Calais struggled last year, and Oliver's turned up and he's bang on the pace. He was in a stone. He's got 100% win record in that rally. One can't remember. Yeah, every time he's sat in it, he's won a rally. Whereas Calais, I think, struggled a little bit last year. And I don't want to say he wasn't hungry, but trying to get the car to work with the tyre seems to be where people are coming unstuck. I think that's where Seb struggled in Monte at the weekend, just trying to get the car to work with the tyre to suit his driving style. Oliver was able to drive around that problem. So, and I think Calais suffered last year, certainly for the first 6 or 7 events. He couldn't get the tyre to work for him. And then they found something and it clicked. So did we see the Callum last year that we've seen the few years previous? I don't think we did.
Yeah.
But again, it's got nothing to do with his pace. Would it be nice to see Oliver Solberg go ahead against Callum Pera? Yeah, it would. But I think Calais would probably have to find another gear. Oliver's that good, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think if he does come back, yeah, he will. He'll have to up the pace. And then, frustratingly, we had Josh and John in the Pumas, and it just from the highs of John to the, unfortunately for Josh, the lows that he suffered, and then for neither to get to the end.
Yeah, it was starting with John. It was really frustrating because he put in a mega drive. You can't jump into one of these cars, particularly in Monte Carlo, where the conditions are like they are, with the lack of experience he's got with the tyre. Never mind the car, but getting the tyre to work for him, and being comfortable in the car and finding the right setup and everything else. Remember, it was his first ever Monte Carlo. He'd never been there before. Like, I think he'd done the recce once, but had never competed there before, and neither had Shane. Oh, Shaky Shane. So I think what they did was incredible, and it was, yeah, I was gutted for them when it sort of came over the radio that they'd gone off, just understeered into a rock, and it was actually really unlucky. I saw a fan cam of it going around, and he hit one rock plumb. If he'd have been either side of it, he'd have gotten away with it, but one rock plumb, which just took the front left suspension off it, and yeah, he didn't deserve that. A top six would have been so good for him, so good for M Sport, for the academy, for Motorsport Ireland, but it wasn't to be. I think, though, the key thing for John is that he showed his pace, didn't he? Yeah. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, people now know that John Armstrong is the real deal.
Yeah.
He showed his pace. There were times when he was going quicker than the Hyundais, matching the Toyotas. So yeah, he is the real deal. He's just got to piece it together. And Josh just had a bogey weekend. That's all it was. Yeah. It doesn't reflect Josh's natural pace. He's quicker than that. He just got caught out. And I think it would, if he hadn't gone off on day one, I think it'd have been a very different story.
Yeah.
Because when you're first on the road in Monte in those
conditions, particularly, yeah,
like, you're thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
He was acting as a snowplow a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, and the way the studs work on those tires, they're not like the Sweden studs where you've got a lot of a protrusion of the stud. They're only a little stud. So when you're in slush and snow, the studs are doing nothing for you. You're just relying on the profile of the tire to clear all that snow and slush away. And there was so much. He didn't have any grip to play with at all, and everyone else remembers down at the start line just watching all live and can see Josh didn't have that. Yeah. So if he hadn't got off on, what was it, Thursday evening? It's a long time ago now. Thursday night. I think it'd have been a different story. He was on the back foot from then. He just had a bogey weekend and just Control Alt Delete, forget about it, reset it, and I think we're going to have a really exciting year, an exciting fight between Josh and John.
Yeah, I think so. And again, not to labour for poor Josh, but it was unfortunate. Like, it was a corner that claimed Sammy Piari. For Mo and Munster just about got away. And just unfortunately for Josh, it was just unlucky. And we saw how much then, as you say, he ended up being, snowplow opening the roads. And the roads evolved so quickly over 3 or 4 cars that, had he been running maybe where he should have been running, it would have made such a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I think it would have been a different story. I think Josh would have, if he hadn't dropped it on Thursday night, he'd have been running with John, if not ahead of him.
Yeah.
Because he's got the experience, understands how to make the car work in those conditions, and but it was just on Thursday evening, and like you said, that same place caught out Sammy Piari. He retired. All right, Sammy didn't go off the road, but the result was the same. He retired, and if you look actually what Sammy did across the weekend, it was a similar story. Once in terms of the pace, Sammy was struggling. He ended up not finishing the rally, didn't he? But he ended up going off the road again, hitting the tree. So it just goes to show the conditions that the first 2 or 3 cars had on the road were so difficult. If Josh hadn't been there, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah, it would. And again, we mentioned Hayden at the start, like such a baptism of fire, like 8 years away from WRC to come into that, and maybe, you know, putting him on to Tarmac in the first place, maybe not his most comfortable of environments. He's probably better slightly on the loose, but that's such a tough one again, where we talked about the ice, the slush, the snow, the mud.
Yeah, I think personally, straight away, I think it's brilliant that we've got Hayden and John back.
Yeah,
two top boys, and Hayden is a very, very different driver from when we last saw him in the top flight in the WRC. He's gone away and won a couple of European championships. His own company's thriving in New Zealand, and you know, he's a different guy. And he's physically fit, he's mentally fit, and we saw that in Monte. He was under mad stress because he was told, get in the car and finish the rally. From where he was on the road, of course, barely had any seat time, and it's certainly none in those conditions.
Yeah.
You know, so to drive like, and he was openly saying as well, this is not my comfort zone. You know, you put Hayden down a fast gravel road in the dry, he'll be bang on it. Yeah. But, you know, so to drive in those conditions and show the patience that he did, you know, he could have pushed on, but the result would have been enough. Yeah. He was just so patient, so mature with the way he approached the rally, and got the car to the end. It was I didn't speak to Andrew Wheatley or the guys at Hyundai, but it was, I'd have, and this is nothing against Hayden, but I don't understand why they didn't put Esa-Pekka or Danny in.
Yeah.
You know, because and obviously in Sweden you'd want EP, and I'm excited to see what he can do there in the Hyundai. But you know, EP and Danny certainly have got more experience of Monte Carlo, of the conditions, and have been in the car more recently than Hayden. I don't know. It could have just been an availability thing. I honestly, genuinely don't know. But you know, I think Hayden, having competed there in 16 and 17, and not having the best personal memories from that place, it's always difficult. But he got the monkey off his back, and he got the car to the end, and he did his job. I'm excited to see what he can do once he's on more comfortable ground.
Yeah.
But then, like Danny, he's a prime candidate for like the dry, hot asphalt stuff, isn't he? So let's wait and see. Like I said, for Hyundai, their strategy is very much Thierry and Adrian go win rallies. These guys go score points. Yes. So let's see what they can do this year.
Yeah. And again, Adrian, very mentally strong. You know, he's fitted right into that team, no problem at all. Kept out of the Tanak Neville, you know, battles last year. And again, I thought it was just unfortunate for him, you know, fuel pump lateness, and then the handbrake then just destroyed his event for him.
Yeah, I think Adrian on the whole had a brilliant Monte Carlo when you look at the pace.
Yeah.
When you look at the pace alone, he was right there. But as you say, there were some issues with the car, and you can't drive at those conditions without handbrake because it gets you out of trouble. When he lost the handbrake, it instantly took 30% of the confidence away. Because when you get to a corner, you can use the handbrake to counteract understeer and just get the car rotated and point to where you want to go. So it's a life jacket, and he didn't have that. So, but when the car was right, you know, he was there and the pace was good. I think overall Hyundai, I mean, they still finished 4th and 5th. It's not what they wanted to be, but the pace in the really slippy, icy, dirty conditions was good. The one thing was when they got to like the consistent wet tarmac, they just couldn't keep up with the Toyota. So that's the main lesson that they've got, that they can take away from Monte Carlo and go, that's what we've got to work on. We've got to fix that. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in trouble later in the year. But I think, you're right. Mentally, he's properly strong, isn't he? He doesn't let stuff phase him, and he's so positive.
Yeah,
and like he's a good case study for, you know, having your head in the right place, for positive mental attitude. No one ever goes quicker by being negative.
Yeah.
So like when things are going shit, he still, you know, he responds to it in a positive way and just gets on with it. And the times are still there or thereabouts.
Yeah, because he didn't complain. Like, I know we've seen other competitors in the past get to the stop line and there's been an issue and there's been complaints then where he didn't give up. And even on the Sunday when we all discovered Rally 2 and Rally 3 were in the Super Sunday points, like he was joking about that at the end rather than, you know, giving out. So, you know, I thought it was a very positive event for Adrian, you know, other than the technical issues.
Yeah, and like I said, that's all in the head. So much of it's in the head. You just got to accept what you've got and make the best of it. And that's what Adrian does. He's gotten good his last year at M Sport and since he's been at Hyundai have been the key years for Adrian Formeau. And he has, by his own admission, he's gone and got some help from a top flight sports psychologist on how to deal with the pressures and how to just focus on him rather than worrying about other people, which in rallying is such a big thing, isn't it? Because you're always looking at the clock against other people. And, you're worrying about what your competitor's doing versus you, what your teammates are doing versus you. Hayden's gotten good at being able to come up with coping mechanisms that stop him worrying about that stuff and focusing on his job. And if you can do that, then the results come. It's what Sebastian Loeb was so good at. He used to. I remember when I first started. I think it would have been 2010 or 11. I was just some punk kid down at the start line doing some at start stage or pre-stage interviews for North One TV, who had it at the time, and I was down there just doing these interviews. And I remember seeing Seb just keeping himself to himself, laughing and joking with Daniel with a cigarette on the go, and he just went. Just flicked it away, got in the car and drove off. And I was just like, what a hero. He did not care. Wasn't everyone else was sat checking this, worrying about that, doing this, and he just smoking a cigarette by the side of the road, got in it, went away, cleaned up, won the stage. And I was just like, yeah, what a guy. And I think, Adrian Formeau's sort of got a similar attitude. All right, he's not a smoker, but he just doesn't let other people phase him. And I think that's one of the keys to going quick in this sport. I know I say it, I talk about it to death in the commentary, but it's in the head. Yeah. So much of it is in your head. And if you get your head right, then that's half the battle won.
Yeah. And a busy event for yourself and Bex, 4 days of pretty solid coverage. And especially when there's so much happening, that, it's draining on yourselves as well of keeping that energy level up.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend. Bex, we normally have PK with us. So PK, this is how it works. I don't know if you want to know this or not, but normally doing the TV lives that the broadcasters take for around the world, PK will commentate on those with him. And all live stuff, Bex will do, and I'll commentate with her. But because we didn't have PK, Bex basically did all the TV lives, and she did all lives with the exception of 2 stages when Emir Penland was in. It was great to have Em's such a character. And I did all of the stages. So, yeah, it's exhausting. And then there's extended coverage as well. I think we sat in the Monaco street circuit. We did 3 hours and 40 minutes non-stop commentary, which is fairly heavy going. But at the same time, I love it. You can complain about it and get wound up about it. But once you're actually sat there commentating, you don't mind it because you love it. So, it is draining. It was a long weekend. But when you've got so much action and so much to talk about, then it's not a chore.
Yeah. And I would say you were glad you were in the commentary box for the street circuit, considering how wet that was.
Yeah, it was grim, wasn't it? Somebody put on I saw on Instagram, someone had put on putting the donut on the cobbles in the wet was an evil mastermind trick, which I thought was class. But I think it was good to go back to Monaco. When you guys were watching it, what did you think of it? What was your impressions of being back down in Monte?
It was the rain took away from it. It definitely did. It was hammered down. And again, unfortunately, the donuts didn't work. I've seen better donuts in a B&Q car park. That way.
Bit different.
So it's just unfortunate. Yeah, it just didn't quite gel. And look, I'm a huge advocate for bring rally into the people. And unfortunately, with that amount of rain, I would say it dampened, the atmosphere that was there.
Yeah, I think the rain definitely didn't help, and it would have been a different story if it was dry. And we lost what WRC cars can do. Yeah, particularly with the donut, with it being wet, they did look a bit kind of pedestrian, didn't it? But you can't. Mother Nature's Mother Nature at the end of the day. For me, though, particularly at the start when we saw the pictures coming in and all the people, there was a lot of people watching, and that was encouraging. And I think as well, it's really important. Let's assume that it was a bone dry, beautiful, sunny day. That would have been class. Yeah, and it's so good to bring the sport to the fans. That was good for the principality. It was good for the sport. It was good for the fans. It was good for the TV. All right, the rain didn't help us, but I think we need to be continuing to do that, putting on those shows, because that's what it was. It was a show. But to do it in that sort of hallowed ground at Formula One in Monte was pretty cool. But you're right, the rain kiboshed the plan a little bit.
And how do you not get lost? So when there's so much going on and you are glued to the, the live coverage coming in as you're commentating, how do you not get lost in the moment when there is a bit of drama and you forget to talk? Like that amazes me, because I know if it was me, I'd be glued to the picture and I'd just clam up.
It's happened a few times, particularly with Tarmac boards. Like somebody came back and were like, "Chenny, you didn't speak for 3 minutes." And I was like, "Oh, there's no, yeah," because you forget what you're doing because you're so absorbed in what you love. And watching Tanak just going flat out on onboard, I was just sat. I forgot I was in the comms board. But I also think it's good for the fans at home to just. They don't want to hear me and Bex rabbiting on all the time. They want to watch the cars. They want to hear the sound, and they want to hear the driver and co-driver. So sometimes it is better just to shut up and let the pictures tell the story. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's and as well when you're in those situations, when the action is that good, it tells you that you're doing something right, that the sport is doing something right, the driver's doing something right. When you don't need to talk because the pictures are so good, right? And that's what we love about rally. So why ruin it with aimless chatter over the top?
Come here, look, I'm a nerd, so I love the little pieces on the suspension, on the tires. Will we get more of that, or will Willie Mavidi be brought in for these technical pieces? Willie was giving you a bit of a run for your money there the last couple of years.
Yeah. Hey, Mavidi is he's a star in the making, that's for sure. I always want to do those techie pieces. It's sort of not really up to me. I think there's a lot more things that we could do. I think there's a lot more things that the fans would like to see. And I enjoy doing them. I think it's kind of not really down to me to decide whether or not we go and film them and whether they get shown. But I think it's interesting you're saying that you enjoy doing them. I certainly like talking about them. I think it's something that we perhaps don't do so well is really get into the nitty gritty and talk about the technical side of it so much. I think More Than Machine has done a brilliant job of bringing out the personalities, and that's been vital. So I think if you haven't seen More Than Machine, go and check it out on YouTube, season 1 and season 2. You really get to know the drivers and you get to know the engineers and lots of people behind the scenes. And it's raw. So that's been brilliant. Look, I think, I'd love to go and do some more of those technical features and get under the skin of the sport a little bit, but it's, when you it's busy doing the commentary stuff and then running in and out and chatting to Kiri and everything. So it's just a matter of trying to find time to go and do it. And I think there being a willingness to go and record that stuff.
Yeah, and you mentioned More Than Machine, which I was going to talk about. I think that's been such a fabulous addition to adding to the whole story, and not just new fans, but us old fans as well. We're getting to see particularly the personalities of some of the drivers you wouldn't get on camera as often or as much.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at Drive to Survive, right, or you look at Formula One, people watch Formula One there'll be a minority watch Formula One to watch the race. The majority watch Formula One to see how the driver that they are supporting gets on. Right. Like, so they'll be like, I want to see how Lando gets on, or I want to see how Lewis gets on, or whatever. And that, I think that's one of the strategies that helps grow the sport, is by growing the personalities and giving and letting the fans feel like they're connected to somebody. I really like that guy. I want to see how he gets on. And to be honest, More Than Machine has really helped do that. And it's really important that you bring the personalities to the fans and that the fans get to know the drivers better beyond just somebody who's really quick in the seat of a rally car. That's fine for rally fans. And I think All Live was game-changing for rally fans, for current rally fans. They could watch every single stage live, but I don't think what it did do was encourage new rally fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I think that's where we need to be a bit more punchy with the social. We need to think about what is it that the fans want? What is it the teams want? What do we need to do in order to encourage, particularly with the new regs coming in 27, encourage new manufacturers and new privateer teams into the sport? And remember that ultimately, this is an advert for businesses. So what have we got to do to bring new fans to look at what these companies, these manufacturing adverts are doing? And More Than Machine did a brilliant job of ticking the box of creating the personalities and understanding who these guys are. So I think content like that's really, really important. I think All Live is incredible because you can watch every stage. And trust me, people forget how difficult it is to bring live pictures on every stage of an event when the hub is in the service parking gap and the stage is taking place 200, 300 kilometers away on a mountain. You know, to cover every stage is a massive logistical undertaking. So it's incredible for current rally fans, but we need to start finding ways to encourage new fans into the sport. More Than Machine was a good way of doing that.
Yeah, and that encouragement piece, I know we're still waiting for WRC promoter to be announced. Things are up in the air, but you know, with the new regulations, the changes coming, the new promoter coming, it must give you some optimism that there are going to be opportunities there for this, that we can tell a better story and also bring more people to the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you've got to, regardless of who the new promoter is, regardless of the new regs and everything else, you've always got to be trying to push boundaries. That's how you get better. Like right now, Toyota and Hyundai and M Sport and the Rally 2 teams, I guarantee there's engineers sat in an office going, how can I make this better? How can I make this car quicker? And you have to, and the day you have a rally car and you go, this is quick enough, this will do, is a day you start going slower than the competition. And it's the same in TV and it's the same in media. You have to keep going. How can we make it better? What can we do to continually improve? To, you know, who are the fans we're trying to target, and how do we do that? How do we go about creating opportunities and strategies that will allow us to bring in new fans? You know, and how can we make the current product we've got better and all this kind of stuff? So, and to be fair, the current promoter do that stuff. Yeah, let's wait and see. I think regardless of who the new promoter is or the regs or whatever, that's the attitude that you have to have. So I would love to see the sport continue to grow. I'd love to see. I love it. I absolutely love it. And you can't not. And I think this is the one thing about the WRC, particularly taking Monte Carlo as an example. If you weren't a fan of the sport previously, you watch that rally, and chances are you're going to watch Sweden.
Yeah.
So you've got so it's about putting all of that action in front of people, and I think All Live does that for rally fans in a really good way.
So thanks very much there to Mike Chen, and looking forward now to Rally Sweden. So that's the latest episode of Crunching Gears, the Rally podcast. Until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
That's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.